And Chris, if you would like to take it away, and we'll get started.
Great. Let's make sure. Are we showing the right screen? Make sure I got
Yes.
that part right. Okay.
Yeah, that's all good.
Well, my name's Chris Mundy. I'm Search Marketing Manager at Conscious Solutions. I've been in this position for a decade as of this month. That is my experience. We're going to be talking a little bit about EEAT, experience, expertise, authority, and trust. That'll come up in our conversation today. So my experience is that I've been doing local SEO in this position for a decade. Hopefully, I will wow you with some expertise to throw into the mix as we go along. And the focus today is obviously going to be local SEO in 2026 and why it's actually turns out to be the safest defensible moat that a law firm can have in 2026 in the age of zero-click AI overviews that we are all currently living in at the moment. So let's just begin. Okay, the agenda today, we're going to be talking about the the zero-click era and how that affects us all. That is the biggest shift that we've all lived through. The Google search page has dramatically changed in the past year and a half, 2 years. We're going to be explaining why our strategy is going to be shifting from tracking visits, tracking your organic landing points, and we're going to be turning that big number of, oh, look, I've had hundreds of people land on my site this month. And we're going to turn that psychology around into one that's more to do with I've had 5 conversions this month. I only had 3 conversions last month. My conversion strategy is working. We had a mindset for years and years and years that just focus on putting a bum on the seat and calling it a victory, whether or not that bum on that seat converted or not. So it's a different psychological mental process that we're going to be working with here. Google Business Profile Optimization. We have to talk about that because it's such a plays such a big role in local rankings and local viewing and local conversion. Review management, that very much comes into the local wheelhouse. Hyper local content again, obviously, and then authority building. That's we're back to the expertise and authority and trust stuff we were talking about earlier. So we'll talk about a little bit how we can encourage authority strength to build over time. The platform diversification, that's a really big part of what's happened in the past year or two, moving beyond Google because we kind of have to in a world of zero-click. And then we'll just wrap up with the SEO industry collection of what, because there are no answers as to what the ranking factors really are, but every year, White Spark does it's been running for almost a decade now, I believe, does a survey of hundreds and hundreds of SEO professionals, and we all get together and collectively we decide what we think the values are for each element of ranking locally. Okay, the big shift. As we know, top the entire top fold of a Google search page is now either or occupied by sponsored ads or the AI overview. And if you spend any time looking at what triggers AI overviews and the kinds of citations that get served up in AI overviews, we're talking Google here, you will find that broad informational queries tend to be dominated by what I would call inferior search results. Lots of listicles, top 10 results. You'll start to see the same types of Clio type article hubs, top 10 listicles with the same characters kind of rotating up and down in between who's going to be at the top. These are broad informational queries, generally. What is this? What is that? How much does this cost? The informational rather than transactional queries. The early on in the process of discovery, as opposed to being a person who's ready to convert immediately and is looking to convert immediately. They've already done their research. Now they want to convert. So the big shift that we have to look at is moving away from just trying to capture any intent towards specifically capturing somebody with an intent. And ideally, we're going to do that by moving downstream, down the niches. The farther we get away from an informational query towards specific locations and more specific practice intent. As an example, there is a difference between um, a query like, what is a will? And then you can move down towards more transactional will solicitor or probate solicitor. But you could get even more specific if you said probate dispute solicitor, and you can get even more specific if you're hunting for a probate dispute solicitor in a location, for instance. Now we've moved all the way down the intent towards something that's very specific, very local, and it's very specific. It's not just informational about probates. This is about problems with probates and a solicitor who can help me solve it in my local area. That kind of thinking. And the strategies that we're going to be using to enlighten Google that we are the best solution to that problem for that searcher. The AEO and GEO structured data, expert Q&A, local expertise, citations, and conversational results. What we're talking about there is just other ways of talking about SEO. I'll be the first one to say that there's a lot of terms knocking around at the moment. AEO, GEO. It can get confusing. Internally, the SEO community all know that we're just still talking about SEO, which is really just a form of digital marketing. We're still talking about marketing in a digital sphere. And all of the fundamental building blocks that have always been important in digital online marketing, i.e. SEO, they're all still valid. Every one of them. They're all completely still valid, and they are the building blocks to being visible in our new platforms, the AI platforms, your GPT or your Google SERPs, or Claude answers, or Perplexity answers, Copilot answers. If you trace back their logic to how they're working, you're going to find bedrocks of SEO at the bottom of that. So nothing we're talking about today is going to be new. I'll cut right to the chase and say I'm not going to have anything earth-shattering to tell you that if you didn't step back from and say, that's actually common sense, that makes sense. I'm not going to rewrite any rules here. I'm going to be going back to the fundamentals and getting you to look at those fundamentals in a different way and trying to convince you that they're still gold. As long as we don't try to swim upstream in that broad informational scrum that's going on at the beginning of a journey. As long as we take this to transactional in our local super served niches, this all makes sense. The core web vitals part, speed thresholds, that's something that's been that gained in importance dramatically a few years ago, and it's not gone away, and it's now a prerequisite. If your website does not pass in mobile and desktop Core Web Vitals, you're in trouble, and it needs to. So we've gone through the stage of websites having to be mobile responsive. 99% of them now are. And we've had the warning phase that your mobile responsive website must be quick. It must provide a very fast user experience. Pages must load quickly, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. To now, a third element is that you want that fast website to also be conversion optimized, mobile conversion optimized. And what that means is ideally in the first fold of either a desktop or a phone, all of the signals to convert are there in your first fold. So you've got a fast website, but also as soon as the person lands there, they've got a trust signal, authority signal, and a way to contact immediately. You're not swan sonning that person. They're ready to commit, and you've sold them in the first fold as they've landed. That's the big shift that we're all living through at the moment. Now, you can see there, 32% of local pack rankings, that comes from the White Spark internal SEO survey of what we all feel the importance um, of each element is to local business rankings. And 32% is a huge percent. So we've got to spend time looking at your Google business profile and why it's a third of your ranking value. I'm going to start here in the slide, and then we're gonna come out of the slide and go into our Conscious Solutions Google Business Profile, so I can actually show you this stuff in the wild, in the real world, because it's that important. I would say um, it's absolutely essential that every firm, no matter your size, that you check back in with your Google Business Profile once a month. Google has a habit of going in and making little adjustments for you that you didn't do. And in between you confirming or disconfirming that suggestion that Google made, your formerly 100% complete profile might drop down to 90%. I'm going to explain to you how you can see what that is. And a ranking factor for local would certainly be one of them, 100% complete profile, particularly if you're up against another 100% complete profile. So for that reason alone, it's a very good idea to monthly go in and check that Google hasn't gone in and made any amends. Funnily enough, at the moment, it goes in cycles. It's I'd say 90% of the clients I've looked at this month have incomplete profiles due to wheelchair and bathroom stuff that Google's going in and I've seen wheelchair accessible parking lot, confirm or deny, wheelchair accessible bathroom, confirm or deny. That's a big one. It's just come up suddenly from nowhere, and you've got to go in and either say yes or no, or temporarily you're not complete. Weird things like that. Um, but the most important thing in your Google local pack is getting your primary category correct. Now, for most multi-service firms, that's going to be law firm, for instance. Um, if you have something like a specialist firm, like I'll just randomly Stowe Family Law, I believe all they do is family law. Um, in their particular circumstance, choosing law firm as their primary category, I would say would be counterproductive. They want to choose family law solicitor, or family law attorney as their primary category. You're allowed one primary category, 9 subcategories. And I would suggest using as few of your subcategories as required. So if you are a criminal law firm, you probably don't need to use all 9 of your subcategories, for instance. If you're just a family law firm, you probably don't need to use all of them. If you're a multi-service firm, you're going to want to get your conveyancing, your family law, and all the other bits in your subcategories. But if you don't need to, don't use them. We, I could almost say we're heading into a time where niche specific law firms are going to be the ones that win, or at least have a website that deals just with one topic, and then you have another branched out that deals with another topic that you just specialize in. Because that is well, for instance, go to Google My Business, go to Google Maps and type in family law solicitor in location. And it's not 100%, but you'll, because there's other factors that go into your ranking, how many reviews you have, the quality score, how close that person is to you, the searcher. But if you're looking for family law, you will tend to find, all things being equal, that firms with family law as the primary category, as long as they've got the reviews and everything else right, will win out over somebody who has family law as a secondary category. Not all the time, but just keep that as a theme. Active engagement. This is really, really important, and it's going to come into your posting velocity. Um, Google looks at people's interactions with your Google business profile. Um, and that includes reviews as well, by the way. Google reviews and the business profile, they're synonymous, happens in the same place. And you need to respond to all reviews, good and bad, and you need to do it quickly. That's an engagement signal. The number of people that find your profile listing and click on directions or phone call you, that's a huge engagement signal. Um, the ways that you can encourage more engagement is by posting. It used to be that Google Posts was suggested, do one a month, and then it was one a week. Now it's almost two a week. That is the recommended number of posts. Even posting photographs, charity work, things you did over the weekend, anything that keeps movement going, movement flowing, and might possibly get eyes onto your listing. It's good for engagement. So you never actually want to leave your Google listing for more than a month. And ideally, you don't want to leave it even within the week because you want to be posting on it. So it's a place that you need to go all the time. Um, in your business description, now that's an excellent place to put your SRA number. It's also an excellent place to talk about your the services you offer. And it's also an excellent place to punch in where you how long you've been in business. Now, this is so important that I'm going to actually come out of here for a second and see if I can't go to an actual Google page. Hold on. Okay. Are you guys seeing my Google SERP page here?
Yeah.
Have I done this right? Okay.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to show you here, if I can pull this down a little bit, is how you find your Google business profile. So I typed in Google business profile, and then I typed in my name, and then I typed, let's see, let's see if I can actually do it. I'll do it here. Um, Sorry, this is a little bit clunky, but it's definitely worth showing you all exactly what I can see. So I'm going to type in us. Okay. Now, there's two things I want to show you here. If I click on see your profile, that's how I go to this here. But going into it, I'm going to click into it because of this little red dot here. If you ever come to your listings, and if you've got multiple listings, you'll have them all listed here. If you've got 10 locations, they'll all be in here. Click on this, open it up. If you see that red dot, you must open it up. Because there's going to be something in there that you have to confirm, and you won't be complete until you confirm. Now, I'm going to show you very clearly the wheelchair thing I was just showing you. So if you see one of these things, and it could be for services, it could be for wheelchairs, it could be for opening hours. I've seen 5:30 close. Google recommends a 5:45 close or vice versa. Appointment required is another huge one, left over from COVID times. And the only way to get rid of this is to click on the little pencil and then to go in and actually answer the question and then save it, okay? At which point, when you go back to see your profile, this little circle up here at the top should complete, okay? Now, ours is not complete, and I'm going to show you a reason why it's not complete that is very, very common. I'd say the two most common that have nothing to do with randoms like wheelchairs and parking lot will be the year that you opened. That's a huge one. And signage. And for us, it's signage. Let me show you what happens when I click on that. It's looking for a shop front photo. Now, the reason for that is a couple of years ago, we moved from our own office to a shared office space. Now, this is where this one comes up a lot. They're waiting for us to go out to the front and take a picture of our logo on the front door. That's why this is waiting. We have yet to do it. I apologize. We don't depend on local footfall, so it kind of falls to the back of our important structure. But that's what we need to do. We need to go out, take a picture of our signage, and then submit that to Google. And at that point, they're dragging the shop photo. At which point, if we did that, this would then become complete. Um, and that is it. That's a huge one. It's hugely important. And the other one, which you can see here, I believe. No, if I go in, um, edit profile. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Opening date. It's huge. The number of times I've seen opening date not completed. And this is an excellent chance for me to segue into your About Us page, which you might think has nothing to do with this. However, I would revisit your About Us page and reaffirm all this stuff. Make sure that your services are in your About Us page. The year that you were established is in your About Us page. Your accreditations, all the things that you can crow about, your expertises and your authorities, mention them in your About Us page. Even if you have an accreditations page, re-mention them in your About Us page. Okay, so let me stop sharing this now and go back to sharing. Okay, am I showing my slideshow again?
No, not
No?
yet.
Okay.
Oh, wait,
Am I
let me
doing it
do it.
now?
Yes, yeah, you
Yeah,
are now.
okay. I'm sorry, I'm no good at this. Um, let's see. Okay. Now, review management. This is really huge, people. I mean, absolutely huge. And again, nothing's changed here. Reviews have been becoming more and more important for the last 4 or 5 years. They're still important, and Google reviews are still hugely important in the local pack rankings. What's changed over the past year or two is, I would have to say, um, the inclusion of Trustpilot and review solicitors being important in that Scrum mix as well. The review, as far as Google reviews are concerned, I would say that the velocity is also important. Um, and the recency is also important. For instance, there's so many things I want to say about this, um, because there's no one size fits all. It, but it is very difficult to go up against a firm with hundreds of high star, I'll say in upper 4 stars, if they've got hundreds of reviews and they're also coming in, you know, fairly regularly, at one a month or something, or one or two a month, and you're at the beginning and you've got no reviews. That's the worst possible case scenario you could ever encounter because they've got lots of them and they're coming in steadily. However, if they've got lots of them and nothing's come in for months and months or a year or something, and you're new and you've got a few and they're coming in recently, you actually have more of a chance of competing in that situation than you think. So there's a sweet spot between the number of, the quality score, and the frequency. And there's definitely a ranking, i.e., a ranking factor, but there's also a conversion factor. I can't tell you how hard it is to sell a firm for a service when they have hundreds of reviews and it works out at 3.8 or something like that. That's really, really bad signal because that means it's consistent, it's relentless over time. A lot of people have weighed in on this, right? That's a conversion factor that it goes beyond even a ranking signal. So yeah, reviews matter. And I'm going to talk about turning, well, I think I can talk about it here even. Um, Turning the process of a negative review into a learning experience. I would suggest rather than spending your time trying to get rid of a bad review, um, try to push it down with new and better reviews, but not fake reviews. Use the negative event as a learning experience and make sure it never happens again. Because we live in an age now where you can't afford a bad reputation. And yes, there's going to be those one-offs that are meaningless and it's somebody with an axe to grind or whatever. But if you're being shown consistent lessons, feedback, um, um, review speed, response times, for instance, is a huge one. People get really annoyed if you don't get back to them. So make sure you've got systems in place to not only track things that are coming in offline, like phone calls, but to make sure that you re-engage with them really, really quickly and in a professional manner. Um, the review velocity, in other words, how fast they come in, is something that you can actually influence. And now, how do I mean that? You are allowed to incentivize your staff to collect a review. You are never, ever, ever, SRA or Google, ever allowed to incentivize a client to actually do that. Um, but you can offer a case line to the staff member who gets the most positive reviews that month. And there's a little something I want to go back and get out of here really quickly and go back to sharing my other screen because this is hugely important. Um, Ask for reviews. Can everybody see this link right here? Review link?
Yeah.
Okay. If I copy that review link and I email that to somebody, they're presented immediately with the place to go and leave you your 5-star review. So that's a really useful little free tool. Let me go back to. Okay, are we back to showing my
Yeah.
slideshow?
All
Okay.
good.
So bad reviews. Don't think of them as bad. Google actually looks at a bad review differently if you respond to it appropriately. And the best way to respond is to have a process where you have your standard boilerplate non-committal reply where you take the conversation offline and settle it offline. That's the best thing you can do with a negative review. However, if you really do honestly believe that the person um, has no right to leave a review, then challenge it. However, they do not, just say it right now, they do not have to have been your client. They only have to have had an interaction with you. So that defense, they weren't my client, doesn't float. Google will not accept that. Hyperlocal content. And here we have the EEAT coming up. Experience, expertise, authority, and trust. Now, this is where you can actually start putting the stuff into practice. For anyone who's been a client with us for years knows that we've used, especially with multi-location firms, contact page silos. Every location has its own contact page with local signals, and then built off of that contact page, we'll have family law solicitors in location, probate solicitors in location, trying to get that local that local placement for 10, you know, for a firm that has 10 locations. You can't do that off of the same service page, for instance. So you make local silos. So this is just a continuation of that philosophy. Um, so um, the having and making it the most niche, as I've already said, the most niche specific that you can. Um, Local conveyancing guide in Cheltenham 2026 is getting nicely local and nicely, very nicely specific. It's right down to the 2026. Thinking in terms like that, where you can inject as much of your personal experience and observations and case studies and court times and quirks and nuances as possible. There's no one size fits all for a writer or author of a page or a blog or whatever, or a place or a niche, but as much personal, unreproducible by AI content that you can put in, the better. And just to keep it broad, if you just think in terms of case studies, that's a great place to start. It's automatically going to be unique stuff. War stories, anonymized war stories, court time quirks, or um, piggybacking on recent legislation. A few years back, we had the no fault divorce. We've recently had the renters reform bill. The nuances that you can put, how does the renters reform bill affect, landlords in Leeds in 2020 to 2026? For you're narrowing down and hopping on top of a topical topic. And you can interject with that all of your own personal insights and experience. This is the E. And the two E's, your experience and your expertise. Okay, that's where you get your EEs in place. Um, and let me step back. I'm getting a little bit excited about all this, but like it's all got to work together. So you start building your experience and your expertise on your bio pages. And remember, your bio page is linked to, with the author to your blog page. So your bio page is an excellent place to do that thinking, like I was explaining to you with the About Us page. Talk about your accreditations. Talk about what you're good at. Link to some case studies. Link to some blog posts. Link to your accreditations. Link to your LinkedIn profile, people. Absolutely, that's a great bit of authority. Do it in words. Um, if you've got a development team, also you want the JSON schema underneath all that. I don't want to confuse you, but same as type schema, has accreditation type schema. This person name, same as LinkedIn profile. It's all underneath. It's machine talk, but it's supported with HTML, human readable words on the surface. All of that stuff is building your, well, if you do your bio page like I just explained, you're doing three things. You're talking about expertise, experience, and authority. When you start linking, I've got the authority to talk on this subject because I have this accreditation. That's your same as stuff. Things that link to your SRAs and badges and why I'm hyping on this so much is that legal services fall under, and the EEAT fall under YMYL rules, your money or your life rules. Legal services, financial services, health services are all held to a higher standard of accreditation and expertise by Google. And like for instance, I don't know if you've got any firms out there that deal with medical negligence or personal injury, you probably will find that your pages are harder to be indexed by Google than your other legal pages because you're under double your money or your life with medical legal stuff. And so you really, really, really need to be able to prove your stuff to be able to write or blog or display that kind of a page. Do you have the accreditations? Are they listed on the page? Or are they just listed in your footer? Getting a little bit complicated there, but proving your EEAT should always be in the back of your mind as anyone in the legal service. Talking about it, writing it, proving it, linking it, displaying it, all it's hugely important. That's your topical authority. Google it. Google, in other words, as many pages and supporting pages linking to. linking together in a silo, like I started out talking about with contact pages and topical pages that build off of that location, all of them linking to each other and then back up to the service page, and the service page linking down to your informational scrum that you have, or not informational, but your supporting documentia, um, that all work together synergistically to prove that you have um, that topical authority around a subject matter, not just a single page, and you're not trying to cram it all onto that single page. People also ask PEA targeting. That's a great place to like get your ideas for your blogs or things to put into pages and then answer those questions. I've talked about the bio page, your SRA numbers, stuff like that. Now, video integration is huge. Stick a video anywhere you can. Okay. It makes a lot of sense on on blog pages, but also put them on your service pages and use video schema. Again, that's for your development team. It's machine language to say um, this is a video. Um, Near me optimizations, you can pepper those into your blogs and pay, that's a gimmicky thing. Um, I generally don't promote anything gimmicky, but if you want to put that in your text on your blogs or contact pages or whatever, can't hurt anything. Um, I'm going to show you at the end my most recent blog, which is the local SEO blog that this talk is working from, has an embedded video in it. And if you search the topic in Google, you will see right at the top, we are all over the citations, and right at the top, there's a link to the video that's on that page. Right at the top of everything. Video works. It really does work. And you don't have to have 10-minute video. I personally can't stand making videos and whatever, but they can be short. They don't, even if it's just a 1-minute summary of what you're going to talk about, it's better than nothing. But definitely, please think about trying to incorporate video and also podcasts, diversifying just off your page. Just think in multimedia. Authority building. Again, we've kind of been talking about building that authority as we've been going along. Citations, links, and platform diversification. Okay, NAP consistency. This is old school, one of the oldest lessons in local SEO. Make sure your name, address, and phone number is accurate and correct everywhere. Okay, basic 101. I'm not even going to spend another second on it. UK legal directories. Okay, now we've been joined in the past couple of years with in addition to the normal ones, legal ones. Some of them paid. I'm not going to give you a blanket answer on whether you should pay for them, but if your competitors are in them, pay for one. If they're not, move on. But Bing and Apple, absolutely. Free, overlooked, underperformed. Easy to set up. The only thing I would say about Apple is it's not easy to set up. We've actually given up trying to do it for our clients because you have to have a unique phone for each listing, etc. It's something I would have a senior partner own because you don't want to lose it if somebody leaves. But do look after your Apple. It's got to be in-house. Just do it. It's just get it set up. I'd say the same thing with Bing, although that's easier. We can actually set up Bing for our clients. Make sure your SRA and Law Society stuff is accurate. It's just a no-brainer. And again, I mentioned having your SRA numbers in your Google business profile. Your diversification. LinkedIn for B2B. Absolutely. YouTube, I've just mentioned why it's important. It should be everywhere, and you should be curating your YouTube channel. You should be embedding, not hosting, YouTube video embed on your website because it's a smaller footprint than hosting the actual video on your website. WhatsApp for business, recommended, and Facebook for residential family things. I'm going to throw in some other things in here. we call this UGC content, user generated content. And it's hugely important now in as far as your brand reputation, and it extends well beyond this. Glassdoor for employment, Mumsnet for family law, as well as Facebook groups, Reddit, massively important. Whether or not you have a presence yourself in these places, you must know what people are saying about you in those places. You must know um, for a number of reasons. One, so you can be proactive if there are any problems. Two, so that you can mine it for things that you might be able to write about, or services that you might want to tweak because you can see on the ground that that's what people are actually wanting, not what you're doing. Um, so be aware, even if you're, be there and be aware, even if you're not going to comment, post, or anything. And don't do anything on any UGC until you're extremely aware. Don't hop in and don't ever sell on any of these places. Um, but they are hugely now important in the conversion journey. I forget the numbers, but I can guarantee before anyone's ever called you, they've checked you out on Reddit. Okay. Things like that. Is this firm any good? Or they've asked ChatGPT. It's another thing. Ask ChatGPT and Gemini. Is your firm any good? They'll tell you. Literally, you can put, is my firm any good? And it'll start telling you review what people think about you. Some of it might be shocking. You need to know. It might be a good day for you. You might be like, oh, thank God for that. And it might be, oh, Christ, we've got a lot of work to do here. Find out what your brand is saying and respond to it appropriately. So platform diversification, massively important now. Ranking signals. Okay, this is going back to what we talked about at the beginning, the white spark thing. Now let's just go. You'll see as you're going down, Google Business Profiles, 32% of the local pack rank. It's only 7% of the SERPs below it. Okay. Reviews, 20 and 10. It doesn't really matter. Okay, as far as I'm concerned. When I'm working on a page, I'm trying to do both, if that makes any sense. Um, um, I like for instance, even if you're a national firm and never have anything to do with local, I would still fill out my Google Business Profile. I still would. I just would. Um, especially like what if you're in London, for instance? You don't want to miss out on all that London traffic, So like, um, it's all important. The for um, personalization and proximity for local, that is something that is actually important. It's if you're trying to rank in a city center, it's much easier to do that with a city center location than one out on the ring road. That's still a thing, proximity. Um, Schema markup. Now this is that machine language I was talking about earlier. You need to have discussion with your dev teams about where this stuff goes. I'm going to be forthright in saying literally in the past 2 weeks, there's been a lot of discussion about how important schema is in being required to rank in AI citations. The debate is whether or not it's important for that, or if it's important for traditional SEO and SERP rankings. Um, I'm going to go out and say it's still important. Regardless of whether it's important for a citation or for SEO SERPs, it's still important. Now, where is it important? Bio pages, contact pages, um, homepage, um, blog pages. It's a way to tell instantly to tell a bot crawler that on a contact page that you are a legal service in a certain location. This is your phone number, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm still stunned at how many firms don't use it correctly or at all. Okay. Um, I think we're coming to the end. Okay, your quickest wins. Old school, make sure your NAP's all correct. Make sure your Google Business Profile is up to 100%. Bing, Apple, WhatsApp, and again, I didn't put it in there, but I would say a full service UGC audit to be aware of where you stand in the eyes of the world at large. The schema we've just been talking about and the EEAT author credentials built off of the bio, all fully filled out. Having your review process in place, hugely important for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Making it a learnable process. Um, your authority schema, you've actually seen that has, it looks like, you know, the weird capital A and the capital C. That's actually how it's written in the machine language. Making sure that that's used correctly on the page as it's supposed to. And the most strategic, being YouTube. It's a wasted opportunity not to have on every page where it could go, I would say. And topical authority mapping. Now that has to do with the intent of the person you're trying to target. Make sure before you begin writing a word that you know if it's an informational or transactional post. And it's not wrong to go after an informational. You should have some informational support. But if you are targeting a transactional, get away from the waffle and get straight to the why they should call stuff, okay? Why they should convert and make it really, really easy for them to do so. Um, and we come to the questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chris.